one of my favorite people, was absolutely instrumental in the big upset by Dave Bratt over Eric Cantor in June of 2014. Boy, it seems like so long ago. It was it's not that long ago, really. And he is also, we call him the priest of the 7th District. He's also a former unit chair from Allegheny County, former Jim Gilmore appointee, and the owner of AIS Liberty Dooley, Ron Hedlund, joining us now. Ron, good to have you with us, bud.
John, it's really great to be with you this morning. Love to be with you. First time on your radio show.
Oh, well, we're excited to have you. Now, why do they call you, Ron Hedlund, why do they call you the priest of the 7th District?
That's a funny story. In fact, every time I go to the Henrico GOP breakfast, which used to be full of Eric Cantor supporters, they'll come up to me and just recently just come up to me and say, hey, I want to let you know, I got to confess to you, I'm an former Eric Cantor supporter, but I just love Dave Bratt now that he's in office. And they come up to me in the men's room and say, I got to confess, I used to support Eric Cantor. And this thing with Mike Wade is absolutely horrendous. So that's why I'm called the priest of the 7th District.
When you see this thing with Mike Wade, okay, now look, and you said it's horrendous. We live in an open democratic society. I mean, if Sheriff Wade wants to run against Dave Bratt and challenge him in the 2016 Republican primary to be the nominee of the 7th District, right? Which some of it is new because of the new redistricting, Ron. I mean, why wouldn't Mike Wade, Sheriff Wade, I mean, he's been elected sheriff from Henrico County multiple times. I mean, why wouldn't he have the right to run?
He absolutely has the right to run, and I have no problem with him running if he were honest with the voters of Henrico County, because it was well known in Henrico that he was going to retire as sheriff. He was going to retire from politics as sheriff over his last term. But he ended up running for re-election in November, and now he's saying he's going to run against Dave Bratt. So was he being deceptive in November, or is he being deceptive now? And I now have proof that this entire campaign was set up after the loss of Eric Cantor in the primary so that he could run against Dave Bratt as a revenge candidate. And the proof is this. Dave Bratt is in the new district, but an offer has been made that if Mike Wade drops out, can the Mike Thomas forces retain control of the 3 at-large state central committee votes that they have now on the 7th District. If Mike Wade truly was running of his own volition, why is he being used as a pawn in the 7th District to drop out so they can retain control of the 3 at-large seats on State Central Committee?
I mean, I know that State Central is critical, obviously, for those that prefer conventions over primaries or vice versa. That's really the big issue going on. But, Ron, in all honesty, I mean, when you're running for Congress and you're challenging an incumbent as popular as Dave is, and you're trying to raise, $1.5 million, $2 million, I mean, is it really because they're trying to get – are they going to do all that to gain a couple of State Central seats in one district? I mean, I don't see that, Dave. I don't see that, Ron.
It's a good question to ask, but here's what we know. And this, you can look this up on the FEC, the papers that Mike Wade recently filed with the FEC for his campaign. We know that Mike Thomas is the vice chair of State Central Committee, correct?
Yes.
Mike Thomas's son is Alec Thomas. We all know Alec Thomas. He's a great guy. Alec Thomas is Mike Wade's campaign manager. That's a known fact. All of this is set up to maintain control of State Central Committee. Why are they willing to sacrifice Mike Wade for 3 at-large seats on the 7th District?
I don't know, Ron. I don't buy it. I mean, I love you to death. I don't think Mike Wade is running this campaign. So Eric Cantor people can gain seats on the state central. I mean, Eric Cantor and Diane are making $5 million now. I just don't think that 3 seats on state central in your district is any motivating factor for raising $2 million to strip the nomination away from Dave. I think, there's.
But why would they make that offer? Why would they make that offer?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen any offer made. I mean, as far as I can see, this guy's
all the back.
This guy's filed. This guy. Wait, Ron. This guy's filed papers. He's set up. He's hired a campaign manager, as you said. He got Alec Thomas to come back from Northern Virginia. Guy knows the district. He doesn't come cheap, so they're paying a campaign manager. They're raising money. They told me they're going to spend $2 million. I just don't think you're going to spend $2 million in a quick-sided campaign in order to gain 3 state central seats. I just don't see it.
And if that's the case, then maybe this offer is being made disingenuously. Maybe they're saying we'll make Mike Wade drop out of the race if you guys drop out of running for the state central seat.
I don't see it, Ron.
And then they're going to run somebody else or run him anyway.
Ron,
this is typical of the Ray Allen, Eric Cantor backroom deals that are being made. You and I don't know about it because we're in the open eye, but this deal has been offered in the back room. I can tell you that.
So
and I can talk to you off the air later.
They're going to abandon a congressional campaign. They've already hired a campaign manager, got him to give up his job in Northern Virginia to move back to Richmond, Alec Thomas. They're paying him, and they're going to do all this and then say, if we get these 3 state central seats, we're not going to run our candidate against our public enemy number 1, which is Dave, who unseated our friend Eric Cantor, and we're going to do all this to gain 3 state central seats in the 7th district. I just don't buy it, Ron. I'm sorry.
Why has Mike Wade canceled his formal announcement twice so far?
I don't know. Maybe they're not raising the money they thought they would. Maybe they have to relook at the 7th district. Maybe he's not going to run. But it just okay. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you, Ron. Maybe this is
all right. Let's
maybe they did all this work to win seats on state central. I mean, if it was me, I would just take $5,000 or $10,000, get 3 candidates, get all the people out at the mass meetings and win. I don't think that I would.
Well, that's what they're working on now.
I would have this, elaborate scheme to run some phantom candidate that's a sheriff and put his name out there and hire people so that I could get 3 out of 80 seats on state central.
I think they really were going to run Mike Wade, but now that they see he has no support, they're trying to salvage something out of a losing campaign.
Oh, well, that could be it, and
yes.
You're right. Now that could be feasible that they attempted to get him in and then decided that he didn't have the backing or couldn't raise the money.
I used to be close to Ray Allen and Boyd Marcus, and this is a typical deal that they could dream up.
So let's get to the changes in the 7th district. What do you see happening here?
I see, still looking at all the numbers, analyzing them, whipping votes, because the 7th District Committee meeting was canceled last Saturday. I can tell you that vote, had it gone through, most likely would have been 11-8 hostile to Dave Bratt.
So
go ahead.
So if it was 11-8 hostile, you mean that they would have chosen a primary instead of a convention?
Well, I think they were going to choose a party canvass where they control the rules.
Like a firehouse primary?
Yes, where they control the voting locations so they can pick precincts where Dave did the poorest. Oh,
that makes sense. So if they had the majority 11-8, if the Wade anti-Bratt people in the 7th district had the majority, why would they have canceled the meeting, Ron?
Well, the meeting got canceled because of the redistricting.
Right.
Because of redistricting, there are new members to the committee that were never notified of the meeting. So the meeting had to be canceled, and now the new members, like Powhatan, Amelia, Nottoway, they had to be issued a new party call for a new meeting. So there's now going to be the next 7th District Committee meeting is going to be in Goochland Saturday.
But that's not the main your main meeting. That's just for deciding what the nomination process will be.
Yes, that's to decide the nomination method now.
Right.
And
that's not like your main meeting to elect people to the state central, right?
No, that meeting this Saturday will decide when the 7th District Convention will be held, where we elect the 3 at-large state central committee members.
So the meeting to decide on the nominating process for the 7th District, Ron, when is that?
This coming Saturday.
Where is it?
In Goochland, at the library.
And it's at the Goochland Library. And who can attend?
Well, I can tell you this. The Goochland Library is a small venue, and it's open to the public. These meetings are open to the public. And the last one that was held in December that got canceled and moved to this month was at the Henrico Board of Supervisors meeting room, and we had it packed with over 250 people, 90% of which were Dave Bratt supporters. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to be able to have that number of people at the Goochland Library.
Mm-hmm. So, and this meeting is going to determine what nominating process takes shape for the nomination battle for the 7th District, right?
That is correct. But now the makeup of the committee is different, and it appears that it is a pro-Dave Bratt committee now with new membership and the loss of old membership.
So what changed in the 7th District? You lost New Kent, right?
And Hanover County, which are big Dave Bratt supporters. They were huge Dave Bratt supporters.
Right.
And we picked up Nottoway, Amelia, and Powhatan, and then we lost a small portion of the city of Richmond. That's out now.
So what you're saying is if the election were held, if the district didn't change and the election were held, or the nominating process decision was a week ago, you were going to lose 11-8, right?
That is correct.
So explain what the change is now based on the configuration of the new district.
All right, because what happens is there's several people on the 7th District Committee that live in New Kent and Hanover. And all of those people that live in that area that was lost are off the 7th District Committee now. Right. And then we pick up the chairmans from Amelia, Nottoway, and Powhatan. And basically, we pick up a couple supporters net out of that new change.
If you pick 2 up and they lost 2, that would make it. That would put the Dave people ahead. What, 10-9?
Yeah, because there's also some vacancies that need to be filled. So that's why I say I'm not going to give you a hard answer online right now, because there's still some vacancies that need to be considered that will have to be voted on. So. But it looks like it's going to be close, but it looks like it is now a Bratt favorable committee makeup.
So if it was a Bratt favorable committee makeup on Saturday, what would the majority of those committee members, how would they prefer the nomination be decided?
Well, they could give him a convention if that's what he's looking at. You got to look up the new makeup of the committee, too, and if that's in the district. But I'm guessing, again, I'm not in the middle of it as far as who's voting what and who's wanting what, but it looks like it could be a convention if that's what he's still pressing for.
Now, the way it works is because Dave Bratt won a primary, he can what? He can choose a primary.
Yeah, even if the vote is still anti-Bratt on Saturday, say they still go with the Firehouse primary, Dave Bratt could force them to a regular state-run primary because that's the way he was elected in his nomination battle.
Right, so he would prefer a nominating convention where he can get his activists out, right? That gives him the best opportunity to get renominated, no question. If the Wade people choose a Firehouse canvass primary where they control everything, then he can override that and choose a primary. So it wouldn't, and he certainly wouldn't choose the one that the opposition wanted. So if I'm the Wade people, I'm either I've got to get the Firehouse primary in order to get a regular primary to not get a convention, which it would be impossible for Wade to win, in my judgment. Am I right?
Yeah, they could just vote and say they want a primary, but see, they want to force Dave to choose a primary. Then there's they can't complain and point their fingers at the committee for having a state-run primary, because it ends up being Dave choosing it over the committee's firehouse primary.
Yeah, if I was the Wade people, I think you nailed it, Ron. That's exactly the strategy that I do. Okay, let's get to the Republican primary pledge, the oath on March 1st, Super Tuesday, Ron. It's coming under fire from everybody all over the place. Vince Haley just weighed in with a piece on Breitbart the other day. On our show, we have been all over this thing. We started the charge. Where is it at now, and how can we get rid of it?
Well, all I know is we can burn up the phone lines and just hammer John Whitbeck. Let me tell you something about John Whitbeck. He assured me repeatedly that this loyalty oath or pledge or statement of affiliation, whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to quibble with that, but he assured me repeatedly before it was sent to the State Board of Elections that this was voluntary only. I know that because he told me that myself. This was only going to be a voluntary statement of affiliation. And when it came out that it was required, mandatory, that you had to sign the statement of affiliation, he told me that it was the State Board of Elections that made it mandatory.
Well, sure. If you're a Terry McAuliffe State Board of Elections appointee, you're of course going to make it mandatory, because it's about the stupidest thing the Republican Party of Virginia could have ever done. Hey, you want more info on it? You want to get rid of this pledge? Go to repealthepledge.org. Repealthepledge.org. Want to thank Ron Hedlund for being with us. Ron, we're out of time.